Hey, Colton. Colton.
No running.
No running. You've heard that before.
What's the little one's name?
Hayden.
Hayden. He came out, he was there and he waved at me.
What a handful they are. I'm pretty good one at a time, but both of them together is a handful. Yeah. Oh, he's in his class.
Somebody had bought that.
Next week. No, that is this week. Yes, this week. Yeah, no, this is Thanksgiving week, so it is, yes, this week. Well, they're still maybe going to show up later.
dry season.
I've never been up there to see it. I've never been out west either. I did look to see like the throne, cross on over in the end.
Luther, Gene said that they've got cops at the entrance of the, like Walmart and their stores down there, making sure people wear their masks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, every state's different on the requirements they have.
But she said when they got in there, they took them wrong. I said, you're a rebellious child. That took a lot of work. At the end of that book, each copy is book. You ever hear the book of Enid?
Probably too late at this point because there's no way it'll heat up, but it's super cool upstairs. And the thermometer is black and it's like the batteries maybe in it are dead or something.
That's not good.
But it's not so cold that we can't, you know. It's fine. I just wanted you to know that it wasn't working.
Okay, yeah,
It
I'll come
probably,
up and check it in a second.
it's all out of whack all the time, so it might just be down too low and those are not, the screen's not working. Who knows? Two, please. Thank you.
You caught up there, Luke?
Huh?
You caught up there?
No, but you go ahead. No, it'll, I turn those off for the Sunday school. It messes with the picture.
Mark, that can't be true. I'm older than you.
Not much.
And I'm not old.
Well, okay. everybody.
Good morning.
Nice to see everybody out today. As soon as I find my page here. We're on the next to the last lesson of the quarter. So we've got two hard ones coming up, and I got assigned to both of them. I think Tim may have taken vacation on purpose, so he didn't have to teach these two lessons. So no, that's just fine. We'll get through it. I appreciate everybody helping out as we discussed it this morning. Before we get into our lesson, now let's go ahead and go to prayer this morning. Ask anybody anywhere if you've got a spoken prayer request. All right, Rudy.
For my family, and also my niece's son, he's in from Florida, and they've got him because he can't drive. He has to go back to the doctor, I think. I'm hoping they can do something about his eye, you know.
All right. Somebody else?
Mark, I have some friends, co-workers that are in need of prayer for health situations, and one of my friends had recently lost his sister, so I just asked you to remember him.
All right.
Let's remember our country, I tell you, if you, it's just a mess right now, and, you could really get depressed without everything going on if you let yourself. You just have to try to not focus on it too much.
Mark, of course, always remember Tommy and remember my Aunt Judy. Visited with her yesterday. Right now she's good, but you know, in her situation, you know, we don't know how many days that will be. But Lord willing, my family will all be heading out tomorrow, going to North Carolina for the week. So remember us while we're home.
I would ask you guys also to remember my mom. She had fallen several months ago inside of her house and been in pain ever since, and held off going to the doctor because of fears of COVID and going to the doctor and all that stuff, and finally saw a doctor, and they are telling her now that they're recommending hip replacement surgery and knee replacement surgery, and now she's trying to figure out if she wants to do that or not, because the rehabilitation part of that will take place in a nursing home. She's trying to stay away from all of those things, so just pray for her and that she'll get some relief from the pain she's in and make the right decision. All right, anyone else? I'm sure everyone has unspoken prayer requests. Let's all stand if you would, please. Let's remember each other's prayers. Should be fairly easy to do this morning. There's not too many of us in here today. And most of all, let's remember to be thankful. You know, we're coming up on Thanksgiving week here. I think the whole week is Thanksgiving week. We should be thankful every day, but let's really purpose in our minds to be thankful to God for all He does for us. Steve, you mind leading us one, please?
Our fathers again.
Our fathers, thank you this morning for this day of forgiveness. Thank you, Lord, for this privilege and opportunity that you allow for each of us to come into your house, study your word together, or let your hear your word preached. Just to lift up your name of your son, Jesus. Father, we just ask you to hear those prayers and right this morning. Father, answer those Lord, you will most of all, Lord, just give us the peace and comfort this morning and give us all your Father. Praise all for you, forgive us what we sin against you. Father, forgive us for our shortcomings and our failures and the way we treat one another. God, let's grow closer to you in all things that we do. Father, we ask that you would continue to guide and direct this church, our families, everything that we do. I ask all of these things in Jesus' name.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. All right, before we start class, I'll also ask if anyone's read a verse or a passage of scripture over the week or two that may have spoken to your heart or addressed something on your life you'd like to share with the rest of us.
Mark, I read something I'd like to share.
Okay.
Comes out of Isaiah 55. Just part of a devotion I'd read this week, but I just love the message in it. It says in Isaiah 55, 6 and 7, it says, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him. And to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. I'm just thankful for those words this morning. I was lost at one time and I needed mercy. I found it in the Lord, and I just, that's the great hope for anybody who's lost today. I'm thankful for the Lord that he will pardon abundantly this morning.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. All right, anybody else? We'll go on. All right. The title of our lesson this morning is The Coming Kingdom. We're still in the book of Daniel. We're going to be in the first part of the 7th chapter this morning. It's almost all of the 7th chapter. Skips a few verses. Those of you looking for it in your booklet, it starts on page 78. Of course, I like to try to make these lessons as relevant to today as I can. And today was an especially difficult lesson. I don't know if anybody read ahead this morning or tried to look at it and make sense of it before you actually come to Sunday school or not. This lesson and next week deals with more prophetic, not so obvious prophecies and messages we've had in the past as we've studied this quarter. And next week's is going to be just about the same. A lot of it that we're going to be reading is, and I'll mention it as we get to the verses, like everything else that's got a very symbolic imagery in the words and the way we're told, can be interpreted different ways and probably has been interpreted many different ways. We're going to do the best we can as we go through here. If somebody's got something that they want to add or something to say, please don't be bashful. There's not many of us in here today. Nobody will make fun of you. Y'all don't make fun of me usually, so I feel like we're on even playing ground. So does anybody in here like to talk to people older than yourself and hear stories about the good old days? It's great, and it's a lot of fun. I like to, you can learn a great deal. If you really listen to what's being said, you can really learn. We forget a lot of times that we can learn a lot from our more mature relatives, neighbors, friends, whatever. I'm not going to say older because I'm getting kind of really close to that older stuff now. So, but you can learn a lot from talking to people. And I've noticed a pretty common pattern with these conversations. Life was almost always better in the good old days. You ever hear that? People talk about how much better things were in the old days. And then progressively got worse as life goes on. And now, man, this is terrible. I've never seen anything as bad as this. It's always, and it doesn't matter what generation you're hearing this from, they always say this, right? So whatever age group you're talking to, and then you sort of have to realize that this one's good old days might have been that one's bad days. All of this starts overlapping, right? So which was the good old days and which was the good days? So, I'm trying to find these young folks back here, much younger than Gary. I'll pick Gary this time. A few years younger than Gary. So their good old days and Gary's good old days are not the same. And maybe what their good old days, they're thinking, that's not really good old days to me, or, whatever. So all of these things sort of start to overlap. And I'm not trying to present this lesson as a perspective kind of a thing, well, it just depends on how you view it and what was going on. But more like a time moves on and life continues to move on sort of thing. So, a show of hands, who thought life was better when you were younger? Anybody? About half of us admit it anyway.
My aunt, which you all know, she was 99 when she passed away. She talked about those good old days, but to her was not good old days. As time went on, she always thought things were better. But when she talked about the bad times, she would talk about back in the Depression time and all that kind of stuff. But she always thought things got better as it went on. But she talked about, the racial things back then, because she lived through that.
Right.
And how bad it was. And But anyway, she had that optimistic type view of those good old days were not so good.
Like my dad died when he was 90, and Luke showed that little video or something about all the things, and I never had realized, even thought about all the things that he did go through, you know, back, because he lived to be 90, he was born in 1900.
Right.
It's really,
You know, and we could all sit and talk about our good old days, and what I might remember as a good old day, somebody else may think, well, that was terrible times, and this and that, and you know, just depending on where you were. But the bottom line is as things go on in our lives, and things go on in everybody's lives, we've probably all gone through some catastrophic events or seen catastrophic things in your life that probably impacted your life. So, and I was thinking about some things, and I'd like for somebody to speak up, if you would. Think about things that have occurred in your lifetime that you considered catastrophic that had an impact on your life. Anybody?
Mark, just right off the top of my head, I grew up in the 80s as a teenager, and I can remember a space shuttle carrying a teacher and crew. We actually were watching it on at school, you know, exploded in midair, and it was a somber moment. President Reagan was shot. Remember that?
9/11, yeah.
Yeah, but
Some of you have served during war times or some kind of police action, we'll call it, Vietnam, Korea. I don't know if anybody served that's here at the time. I think about things like conflicts in the Middle East, and John, I had actually written down the exact same things that you just said. Bombings, floods, fires, plagues, and on and on and on. And when you look at these things, when they're going on, we kind of have this tendency to think, you know, man, this is terrible. This is the end. This has got to be the end of things as we know it. I mean, you see those things. Can you imagine what the people, and we don't have anybody here in that age group now, but think about World War II. The war to end all wars, right? I mean, people thought that could be the end. And then we move into the Cold War, and there's the threat of nuclear war all the time. This is going to be the end. There's no way we can survive all this. But you know what? We do, don't we? No matter how catastrophic or influential those events are that have happened, here we are. Life goes on.
My mother told me years ago that people believed that long time ago that World War I would be the war to end all wars.
Right. And then till the next one comes along, right? So thinking about all this stuff, and everybody's got their own memories and the things they think about, catastrophic events or big things that have happened over life that we think, man, how are we still here? Why? How is it, or why are